we're doing two different types of things today. Today we're finding the volume of rectangular solids, which are three-dimensional objects with a base that looks like a rectangle, and I'll show you a picture. And then we're also finding circumference and area of a circle. So we're doing a lot with circles today. So let's first work with what we know, rectangles. Okay, a rectangular solid looks a lot like a box, right? So all of its sides are rectangles. That's what it means. So we do have some things we have to label, though. Okay, rectangular solids all have a base. The base is the part going along the bottom. Actually, we call that length, don't we? Not base. Rectangular solids all have a length. I'm sorry. Length. Rectangular solids also all have what is called a width. The width, its length. I was thinking of area, and I called it a base at first. So length is the part along the bottom. The width is how wide the box is. So that's this little part right here. So let's label that width. That's this part right here. And then with a rectangular solid, we are also concerned with how tall it is. So that is the height. And that is the tallest part right here. So we have length, width, and height. Those are the pieces we need to know. Now we need to know the formula for finding the volume. Volume means how much stuff could fit inside of this box. So how much stuff can I put inside of that box? So volume of a rectangular solid is length times width times height. So we're just taking our length, our width, and our height and multiplying them all together. Now, with area, we were multiplying two things together, base and height, right? So our exponent for area was always 2. How many things are we multiplying together for volume? 3. So what's our exponent going to be for our units with volume? 3. It's going to be cubed. Okay, so let's look at example 1. Okay. Example 1. I have a box. What is the length of this box? 13 what? Inches, right? Is the width of the box? 2.3 inches. And what's the height? 4 inches. Good. So let's write all of that out. We have volume equals length, which is 13, times width, which is 2.3, times height, which is 4. Okay, now that it's easy, we just multiply everything together. So that is volume equals. Let's do 13 times 2.3 first. So I'm going to do that work off to the side. 3 times 3 gives me 9. And 3 times 1 gives me 3. Placeholder. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times 1 is 2. We add both of those things together, so we get 299, and then we move the decimal over 1 space. So volume equals 29.9 times 4, because we haven't done the 4 yet. So we have 29.9 times 4. 4 times 9 gives me, guys, what's 4 times 9? Thank you, 36. 4 times 9 again is 36, plus 3 is 39. Carry the 3. 4 times 2 gives me 8, and 8 plus 3 gives me 11. And then how many times do I move the decimal over? 1 time. So we move the decimal over 1 space. So volume equals 119.6. What are my units? Inches. And what power do I raise those inches to? The third power. So we read this as 119.6 inches cubed. So you could fit 119.6 1-inch squares into that box. Alright, so let's go on to circles. We have some parts of a circle that we need to label. Okay. Alright, circle parts. We have first the very, very most important part, which is this right here. Does anybody know what this part is called?
No.
No. The point in the very middle is the center. Okay, so that point is the center. And let's draw an arrow pointing to it. Okay, some of you already know the parts of a circle. What is this long line right here that goes all the way from edge to edge? Diameter. Good. Okay. Half of the diameter is called the what? Good, the radius. So this part is the radius. Radius is always exactly half of the diameter. And remember, both of those go through the center always. And then what is the entire distance around the circle called? Good job, circumference. So I'm going to draw my... Whoa.
Do we have to use that? No.
Okay, that is the circumference. Mine was not. So, what we are going to do first is we want to find the circumference. Okay, so we do have a formula for this. The formula for finding the circumference is represented by the letter C. It's a capital C, not a lowercase c. And there are two ways that we can find the circumference. The first one is multiplying the pi times the diameter. Okay, so we have pi times diameter one way. But diameter is the same as r times 2, right? So we have another way that we can find the circumference, 2 times pi times r. Okay? Does anybody know about how much is pi? 3.14. 3.14167. That's as far as I know. Okay, so about 3.14. Pi is equal to about 3.14. Okay. So, for example 2, we want to find the circumference in both terms of pi and to the nearest tenth using 3.14 for pi. So, we're going to actually have two answers here for example 2. Now, what am I given in this circle? Am I given the diameter or the radius? The radius. So, am I going to use the first equation or the second one? The second. So, let's find the circumference in terms of pi first. So, that is C equals 2 pi times r, which is 9. So circumference equals, what's 2 times 9? 18, and they first told us that we can leave our answer in terms of pi. So 18 pi, and what's our units? Inches. So circumference equals 18 pi inches. That's our first answer. That is an acceptable answer. Pi is just a number. So we can leave our answer in terms of pi.
So that's the answer?
So that's your answer. One of them. Now our instructions tell us to find our answer in terms of pi and to the nearest tenth using 3.14 for pi. So we actually, for our second answer, do need to do the multiplication. So that's going to be circumference equal to 18 times 3.14. And then let's actually do that multiplication. So 3.14 times 18, just off to the side. Okay, 8 times 4 gives me what? 32. Good. Carry the 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. And 8 times 3 gives me 24, plus 1 is 25. Placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. Let's add all of that together. So we get 2, 5, 6, 5. And I need to move the decimal over how many spaces? 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have 56.52 inches, but I needed to round it to the nearest tenth. How many decimal places is that then? 2 decimal places. No, 1, right? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I need to move it to 1 decimal place. So I look at the 5. Okay, so I want to round it to the nearest tenth. That's the 5. So I need to look to the next number to the right, which is 2. Does that mean I round up or down? For 2, I ran down, so my answer is 56.5 inches. So 18 pi and 56.5 are the same amount. Okay, these are actually the exact same answer.
Do we have to do both?
It depends on what the instructions say. Okay, example 3, there is no picture. We are just given the words, a circle with diameter 6 meters. So which formula am I going to use? First one or second one? First one this time. So all I have to do is C equals. Diameter is 6. So C equals 6 pi. We always put pi last whenever we're multiplying. So even though our formula has pi first, right here, pi times diameter, when we're writing it out, numbers always come first. Okay? So 6 pi and our units are meters. So 6 pi meters is our first answer. All we had to do was plug it in. Now the second answer, I have to plug in what for pi? 3.14. So 6 times 3.14. And let's do that. 3.14 times 6. 6 times 4 gives me 24. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And 6 times 3 gives me 18. Carry the decimal over 2 spaces. And I need to round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to look at that 8. Am I rounding up or down?
Down.
Down, because we have to look at the number to the right of it, correct? And that's a 4, which is less than 5, so it rounds down. So circumference equals 18.8 meters. So those are your 2 answers. Last one that we are going to do, we are looking for the area of a circle. Area of a circle is a formula that I learned way back in 7th grade, and I still remember it. Pi r squared. That's all we have to do. So we multiply pi times the radius, and then we square it. What happens if they give you the diameter? You divide it by 2 to get the radius. Okay, so let's look at example 4. Our instructions are to find the circumference in terms of pi and to the nearest tenth. So we're going to get 2 answers again. Okay, so for example 4, I am given a diameter of 14 feet. So what is my radius? What's this part right here? 7 feet. So let's just write that in right now. Okay, so my radius is 7 feet. Okay, area of my circle is equal to pi times r squared. So that's times 7 squared. So area of a circle. What is 7 squared, ladies and gentlemen?
49.
49. Good. 7 times 7 gives me 49 pi. So area of my circle is 49 pi feet. And whenever I'm taking area, I raise that to the second power. So my area is 49 pi feet squared. And that's an acceptable answer. Okay? Now we have to plug in what for pi? 3.14. So this is 49 times 3.14. So let's do that work. 3.14 times 49. 9 times 4 gives me 36. Carry the 3. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 28. Placeholder. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And 4 times 3 is 12. So let's add all of that together. 6, 8, 8 plus 5 gives me 13. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then plus 1. I move the decimal over 1, 2 spaces. So I get 153.86. I need to look at that 8 to round it to the nearest 10. And then I look to the number immediately to the right of it. Am I rounding up or down? Up this time. So area of my circle is equal to 153 point what? 0.9 feet squared. Because we are looking at area. Example 5, there is no picture, but we are given circle with radius 16 centimeters. I want to find the area, so area equals pi r, which is 16, squared. When we're plugging it into the formula, it's okay to write it like this. Just like we did up here, pi times 7 squared. But then when we're writing our answer, just make sure the numbers come first. Okay? So when you plug it into the formula, just plug it in the order it's given. But when you write your answer, make sure the numbers are first. Okay, what is 16 squared? Anybody know? Very good. So this is 256 pi. And what are my units? Centimeters. And area is always centimeters squared. So that's your first answer. 256 pi centimeters squared. Second answer, we have to actually plug in 3.14 for pi. And we need to multiply those two things together. So 3.14 times 256. Okay. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 is 8. And 6 times 3 is 18. Placeholder. 5 times 4 gives me 20. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. And 5 times 3 gives me 15. 2 placeholders. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. Let's add all of that together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 7 gives me 15. Plus 8 again is 23. Carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Plus 5 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 6 is 8. Move the decimal 1, 2 spaces. So I have 803.84, but I need to round to the nearest 10. So, do I round up or down? Very good, we round down. So area of my circle is 803.8 centimeters squared. So with pi in the answer, without pi in the answer, but they are the same thing. Okay?